Welcome back to HM and Big E. I'm Elvin, this is Homing, and today we are reviewing on Disney Plus, but I guess it was a theatrical release.
That's right.
Death on the Nile. Death on the Nile, based on the Agatha Christie
Yes,
books.
1937 novel.
37. Yeah, okay. 37?
Something like that.
Oh my goodness. Okay. It's a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express.
It is a sequel.
Did you watch that?
I did watch that.
Okay.
There's a lot of books containing this character.
Yes,
it's he's like the Sherlock Holmes of Belgium. Right. So it's I guess a sequel, but in many ways it's just another adventure for him.
Okay. Overall thoughts on Death on the Nile?
I'm intrigued by murder mysteries if it's done well.
Yeah.
It's a serviceable movie. I think most people will kind of enjoy it, but there are definitely some issues with it, and we can get into that in spoiler territory. Yeah, I definitely, you wouldn't say it's a bad movie. There's a lot of it's an ensemble cast. It's a pretty strong cast.
Mm-hmm.
Minus one or two people,
mm-hmm.
and I think some of the feeling that you're in another world is good. It's an adventure story. Right. They're in Egypt. Yeah. No one has been to these parts of the world, and this big river boat.
They're not actually in Egypt because the CG is terrible.
Yes.
CG for Egypt was terrible.
There were a lot of scenes where you're like, "That's a green screen." 100%, because it's not like they're even trying hiding it. It looks way too pristine.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't do that. There's a problem with most of the Hollywood movies, is that again, no one's flying the entire 50-person crew out to Egypt to film.
Yeah.
A few days. It's way too much money, so they're just going to slap it on front of green screen and telling the actors, okay, you're in front of a pyramid, so just and here, I'm going to put some wind on you. The problem with that is that all these movies look the same. Like if you watch Jungle Cruise with The Rock, very similar aesthetic, right? It just looks super clean. It looks very heavy lighting. It doesn't look like. Then you watch something like
And the lighting on the actor doesn't fully match.
Like you could tell some of the scenes were probably filmed on like this built-up set, but a lot of the background,
the background is all,
it's all CGI. And I need a movie that actually is filmed on location. You could do a lot more on location because you can hide your camera behind a plant or something. You can do a lot of creative things with it. But this stuff, it just looks way too clean. And when you're doing a movie like this, it's supposed to be an adventure story. So why is it super clean?
My overall thoughts, I think I enjoy a murder mystery as well.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think it's a very popular genre. I don't think there's actually too many out there. I hope, I don't know if this is doing particularly well. I hope there are more. I do enjoy it. And I think it definitely leans into that kind of trope a little bit with a lot of the shots, different shots of just all the suspects looking. And I think that's really neat. I actually really like that. But yeah, the bad CG and some of the bad acting really stood out to me. Your point on location, I just finished watching Lawrence of Arabia from 1960 whatever, all shot on location.
Yes.
And you can tell, because there was no green screen, obviously. They used to do rear projection for some movies back then, but this was all filmed on location, I think in like Jordan and different parts. And there's vast shots where they're riding in like an army of camels and like the dust is kicking up. And the film, when it zooms in on Peter O'Toole, the main character, it doesn't look crisp because there's sand blowing. Because of course there is, because you're in the desert. And these far out shots and things are, that haze that you just don't get that when they didn't do it properly here. And they didn't spend the effort to make it, because I think good CG probably does exist, but it costs a lot of money and a lot of details. I think we talked about this the other time, that our brains are so good at picking out when some of these small details are missing, that we can tell when something's wrong and something's fake, even though if we can't pinpoint and articulate exactly what it is. But our brains are good at it. So when you watch Lawrence of Arabia, you can tell, yes, this is outdoors, it feels real. And when you watch Death on the Nile, that all of this is completely fake.
There's a reason why the scene in the end of Star Wars where Luke Skywalker's looking out into the desert and he sees the twin suns, and the music's playing, you remember that scene forever. But
yes,
you got here.
But they redid that scene at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
That was not memorable. That was only memorable because you recall the Luke scene.
Yes.
But for example, here's a scene where it stood out so much. He's sitting there looking at the pyramid. Remember?
Oh.
Right, and he's sipping his coffee, and he's got two eggs on the side, and you could just see that is a green screen.
Very green screen.
And you could tell when he's the pyramids in the background. just you know that he is not sitting there.
Actually, I think
he's way too clean. He's wearing like a white suit or something, and there's not even a speck of sand on his white suit.
I think there was a lot of
that kind of stuff.
I saw an article that was, you know, a collection of tweets that were talking about how that one scene where he comes down from the pyramid and they're talking in that
looks so
super big. Yeah.
You know that he's standing on a bunch of bricks.
Yeah. Green
stuff like that just comes out. Well, you want to go through the
well,
plot
let's
a little bit?
Let's spoiler territories. Let's go into the plot. What?
Well, it's about a famous Sherlock Holmes detective, Hercule.
Bureau.
His accent was not great.
Yeah,
he's a good actor.
Great actor.
He's a great actor and a great director. He just won for He won something for Belfast.
Yes. Director. He won director. Didn't he?
No.
Oh, Campion won.
Oh,
okay. He won for a screenplay.
Screenplay, yeah. So he's well deserved to win things. He's a good film director. Yeah. I think you know the plot chugs along like the book, and I don't know if that's a good thing because you kind of think in the 1930s and 40s, a lot of the stuff that we see as kind of generic and trope kind of stuff, maybe it was okay to do it then. I mean, one of the issues was, you know, kind of predicting who did it, and I kind of did.
I did too.
And it was
I did too.
Okay, I didn't know how he did it.
I think part of it, you know, there's a little bit of a meta part of it, right? That I think you know that meta part of it of it's never the really suspicious person that's missing an alibi.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
and
you
it's
kind of know that
there's always
so
a
many
little bit of a twist.
Yeah.
I also predicted. I didn't predict how it happened and whatever, but it's.
But basically, okay. If you're talking about the plot, I think it chugged along pretty slow in the first 45 minutes.
So, it's called Death on the Nile. The first death on the Nile, the triggering event of the movie,
takes an hour to happen. Right?
An hour. It's actually almost exactly halfway through the movie before the murder that actually this detective is supposed to solve actually happens. That's crazy. That's way too much setup time.
You didn't need that first 45 minutes.
No.
Right?
No.
The first part of the movie is about his past and why he's traumatized and stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Whatever. Fine. Okay. Then they jump to the Ponder Day. He's at somewhere in England at a cafe or something, and then it sort of starts setting up some of the characters.
But I think it's so uninteresting that the way they did that they spent 45 minutes setting up the characters and then having the inciting incident, and then talking to the characters again. You should be able to find out a lot of it about the characters' backgrounds and motivations as you're interviewing them.
They should have just started on the
boat. Start on the boat.
Start on the boat. It
takes
them
15, 20 minutes. Bam.
1 hour to be on the boat.
I know.
And they're in hotels, and they're talking in bars, and they're dancing, and it's like they should have just opened scene where someone's dead.
Yes.
Then backtrack and talk about who's on the boat, why they're on the boat.
Exactly.
Right?
I totally agree with that because I felt it was a little redundant that you have all the introductions and like some of it was so inelegantly done as well. Like at the party, at the wedding in the hotel, you have Book, the character, talking to Kenneth Branagh's character, Inspector Poirot.
Yeah, you're saying it better.
You know, and he's pointing out, and he's this person is this, and this person is this, and then but the murder hasn't happened yet, and you're learning all of these things. I don't know. I thought that was a little clumsy. As I alluded to in the beginning, I really actually liked some of the shots once they're finally on the boat. You know, and when they go to that little temple thing, you know, some of the shots of just each individual character, it's almost like a little mini vignette of each character. You know, he's kind of sulking over here and it's dark and they're watching over here and they're fiddling with this. It built that mystery. I think it does that adequately.
I think again that the boat looked pretty good. The sets look pretty good.
Yeah.
For heaven's sakes, spend the money. I think they spent $100 million on this movie or something or whatever. Spend the money and fly the guys out to do 5 days where they're shooting outside because it just looks. It doesn't look good. You can tell that they're on the boat.
It's not even just a matter of flying the people though. Outdoor shooting has a lot of problems because of lighting, because of inconsistent lighting. You do a take now, and then your next take is supposed to be right after, but you can't set up until.
I know. I understand.
So there's a lot of
business side of it. But like, look, your movie's called Death on the Nile.
Go to the Nile.
Go to the Nile, right? Like, it's not a movie that it's by definition in the title that location matters.
Yes.
So, anyways, they're in the temple. Is that a real place?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I was not interested in the movie enough to look it up.
We're
jumping a lot. So they start in the bar. it sets up Gal Gadot's character.
Yes.
It sets up
Arnie Hammer.
How they're supposed to be madly in love, but there's zero chemistry. That's definitely one of the weakest points. Both Armie Hammer and Gal Gadot, I thought, were really weak.
It was very over the top too.
Yes, it was.
Like,
yeah.
I'm kissing this woman because I love her. Haha. We're showing you that they're madly in love.
Yes.
And it sets up some of the characters.
Right.
But that's the other problem. Then they get to.
And then it jumps forward
to Egypt.
Oh, this person is now they're actually marrying each other, and then there's the jilted ex-lover. And then all of these other family members are invited to their wedding, and now they have to change their plans, and then they go on a boat, and then on the boat, and then he's talking, and then finally, again, an hour after the movie begins, over an hour, then the main character dies, and the mystery is actually afoot, as they say. It takes half the movie. It's crazy.
Half the movie. I thought they were going to get trapped in the temple because of Sandstorm, and then they have to figure out who's going to kill someone.
Right. Yes,
but they didn't.
But they didn't.
They left and they went back on the boat.
Yeah.
So that whole scene was unnecessary.
Had nothing to do with
it. It was very, very
I thought they would reveal something about what everyone was doing at the temple was slightly suspicious and would add to it, but it actually did. It had nothing.
They get back on the boat. There's some casual partying and dancing, and there's sort of setting up for the motivations for each character. Like the guy's trying to get her to sign something.
Right.
And you start seeing like little suspicious looks and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I guess
actually, before they're at the temple, which I think was this was very overt.
Yes.
Oh, I'm missing my red paint.
Yes.
How can I film, or how can I paint this without my red paint? And then like 20 minutes later, holding close up of red looking blood.
Right. There was a lot of stuff.
I don't know. I thought that was fairly obvious, and like they could have done that so much more subtly instead of calling out, "I'm missing my red paint."
Well, there's a lot of that, right? Where he switches the book with the girl.
Yeah.
It's like, they make sure that you
that
that's
they
switched the book, right? It could have been a much subtle way, and then
so much more,
right? And at the end, they reveal the back shot where it's I missed that,
Yes.
But no, it was very.
Okay, and then they're back on the boat, and then they party, and then
it's an argument.
But the main character who dies, Gal Gadot's character, I forget her name already. She dies.
Yes, Mrs. Doyle.
Yes, that's okay.
Linny Doyle or something.
Linny, yeah, okay, sure. And then there's a couple more murders, and he investigates people. I thought it was interesting how he's investigated everyone. I didn't watch the first one. I don't know if it's the actual thing. His way of interrogating people is actually just accusing them of why they. How they did murder.
He's kind of like that. Yeah. Maybe that's part of the character.
Right.
I just wanted to know, like, were they trucking along the Nile and trying to get back to a base?
No, they were sitting there trying to dredge the river. Okay. Remember, they were trying to find the gun.
That's ridiculous. Right, when they found it, I thought, no, there's no way you can comb a river like that and suddenly find a little piece of metal. Come on, give me a break. That kind of stuff is just
I think
lazy.
As a river, things move.
Okay, you try to drop your phone into the Lake Ontario and try to find it, okay?
But as a lake, the lake wouldn't... Anyway, okay, yeah, I agree with you. And then he interrogates everyone, and I thought the one scene that kind of really confirmed my, I'm pretty sure it's this guy now, was the one scene where he's talking to Book, and obviously it's not going to be Book who actually did it, and then the husband, Armie Hammer, is there, and it's from the framing of that shot, I assumed that he was the guy.
I just thought he was the guy because
he's randomly left alone after the altercation and right before the murder.
Like that. But you know what? Here's another problem with this: the person that shoots Book, is a very speedy person.
Very, yeah.
So automatically you're cutting out the two aunts. You're cutting out a lot of people, right? Because they're immobile or unathletic. So that's the problem with this type of movie. Like, if you want to keep people's interest, you've got to make every suspect possible. But by casting two old, out of shape women, you're thinking, why even cast them in the first place? And, okay, I guess the whole idea is maybe she hired someone, but she's not the assailant. That type of stuff.
I mean, I think we're nitpicking a little bit here about kind of how good the mystery itself was, and I guess that's part of the writing, but it's also based on the book, so I don't know how much of it kind of is in keeping with that and not. If you're nitpicking, again, I think spoilers. The entire plan of the jilted lover and Armie Hammer's character was they would fake an argument
That's right.
and hope that everyone leaves, just him alone, with enough time for him to run to kill his wife and then come back with nobody. Like it's not a good plan.
It's a very bad plan. I don't even really understand the shooting himself in the leg and stuff like that. Again, this is what I mean though. It's based off a 1937
Yeah,
novel, so
right.
they're sticking with the plot. But because this kind of stuff is done multiple times throughout the last 100 years,
yes,
you kind of feel that is this. I wouldn't use the word out of date, but sort of. It's been done before. I've seen enough movies to know that
right.
it's going to be the lover.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. That like it's kind of this old fashioned kind of murder mysteries have evolved a little bit to be a bit more complex, a bit more clever.
Like Knives Out.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
It's a pretty good murder mystery,
yes,
right, by Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
it was good, but it was a modern day where they had to use, and it was like, it was a fresh take on it. But this kind of stuff, and Murder on the Orient Express was very similar.
Similar, I would assume. Yeah,
very similar, where they're on a train,
and
there's a murder.
Yes.
And then he's got to go interrogate all the suspects, and he finds out. And this one is very, very similar, and I don't know. It was what happens at the end.
What are the weakest points of this movie for you?
I think Wonder Woman. It wasn't the strongest actor.
Yeah.
It's like was she playing a British person with a bad accent, or?
I don't think she can do accents.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So they're like, stick with your normal accent.
Yes.
But are you playing a British aristocrat?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, then that's just lazy. They're not even trying to do the accent. I think what you asking what I didn't like about it?
Yeah. I don't know. Just
Yeah, I didn't like that. I just again the CGI just.
I didn't like Armie Hammer. I don't think he's a great actor. Or I don't think he was a great actor here. I think Russell Brand surprisingly did really, really well.
That's right.
You had other big names. Annette Bening was in it. I think she was fine. I think Letitia Wright, she was fine, and okay, good chemistry, kind of playing off of each other. But I thought definitely the weak points that stood out were Armie Hammer and Gal Gadot.
The main character, basically main characters.
Basically main characters. Yeah.
I mean, what did you think about the how he solved it, the mystery part of it? Was it clever? Was it like okay?
Yeah, I think just grading the quality of the mystery is not. It wasn't the best. It wasn't great. Like it's pretty not memorable. But I think as a movie, I'm willing to indulge it a little bit just because, it's from a different time and it's kind of leaning into that a little bit, and I think it highlights a lot of the mystery tropes. And again, I really like how some of the shots were, even when the boat, they did an early pan of the boat when all the people are on it and they're each standing in the middle, just in between each railing as the boat passes by. And I'm like, that's good. That's kind of like, it's highlighting each character. It's very, it fits the genre very, very well.
One nitpick of the week is where did the staff go every night? They're like, we're going to ship the stuff. Is there hotels along the Nile? Or servants' quarters along the Nile? Like, just so that they could be alone and you can't suspect the staff.
Yes.
That makes no sense.
That's true.
They were gone for like 5 hours too, right? It's like, we can't get a call. It's past midnight, right?
Yeah.
And then they're back at 5 a.m. So where did they go for 5 hours? What's the point? Of course, every boat has a servant's quarter. So stuff like that is lazy.
Yeah, that's true. Were they gone or were they just
they
below deck?
No, they show a scene where they take the boat and the staff's gone. The boat's go. So I don't know. There's another boat that's like a small boat that they're sleeping on.
Yeah, the servant's boat.
Yeah, because every cruise ship, thousands of people exit at night so that you can't get any service, right? Of course, that makes no sense. So stuff like that is just, was that in the original novel? Like, I don't know. It's lazy.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much more to say. Death on the Nile. What's your overall score on Death on the Nile?
It's like a B-.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would give it to. I think it does enough well for a genre of a murder mystery. If you're into murder mysteries, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's good. Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Watch it. I mean, I don't think it's going to be. You're going to be too disappointed. I mean, who's not going to watch it now because we spoiled it? But whatever. Like, you can't say that at the end.
The parts that I thought were really stood out to me as, wait, what is this? The dance scene in the beginning, and I guess they're very aggressive flirtation in the temple, the two of them. It's like, what? This is really weird. Like, I guess you're really trying to showcase the passion that they have, but this is a murder mystery.
On top of like,
on this ledge.
By the way, that guy that pushed a rock to try to kill them,
he just happened to have a crowbar.
Yeah, and not just that, but he gets away because attempted murder is not the same as murder. Which is true, but you go to jail for attempted murder.
I like that at the end when he admits that when Poirot accuses him and he's like, "Oh yeah, I did that. It was a mistake, but I didn't kill them, and so let's move on." That
stuff like
that. Anyway, yeah, we're ruining the movie entirely for you. But if you do like murder mysteries, let us know if you've seen this movie and let us know what you think. Until next time, keep watching things.
Like and subscribe to our channel.
All right.